Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new limited edition kangaroo leather Adidas Nitrocharge 1.0 as part of the Pure Leather pack. Now inside the box they do include a string bag. The string bag, as you guys can see, is black in color. It features gold strings. On the front you're going to find a gold leather symbol with your 3 Adidas stripes in black, and then on the back of the bag you're going to find your gold Adidas branding. Other than that though, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and take a closer look at the kangaroo leather variation of the Nitrocharge 1.0. Now of course this is part of that Pure Leather pack. It's a limited edition release from Adidas where they gave us a kangaroo leather variation of the Adidas F50 Adizero, the Predator Instinct, and of course the Nitrocharge 1.0, with each of these models being limited to 500 pairs worldwide, so not many people were able to get their hands on a pair. Out of the entire pack, I definitely would say that the Nitrocharge 1.0 is the most surprising in person and just really nice. In today's video we're going to be taking a closer look at the shoe in general, talk about all the tech specs, talk about how these things fit and feel, and of course we're going to be comparing it to the standard variation of the Nitrocharge 1.0. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please stick around, and with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the visuals of the Pure Leather Nitrocharge. Now obviously this is a very simple shoe, which in comparison to the standard Nitrocharge 1.0, which features a pretty complex design. It combines protective mesh, rubber in the Adidas stripes, rubber in the energy sling, the hybrid touch synthetic at the front, and then of course the shiny plastic in the sole plate. There's just a lot going on, whereas with the Pure Leather Nitrocharge, you can see they've kept things very simple. It is only available in all black with the white Adidas stripes. It's kangaroo leather across the entire upper, so no synthetic, no protective mesh, no rubber in any way at all, which gives the shoe a very different aesthetic overall, but you can still see that they try to maintain the overall appearance of the Nitrocharge 1.0 and you have them side by side with the standard variation. So like I said, the entire upper is made from very soft premium kangaroo leather. The front portion of the shoe, so from this seam right here, from this seam here forward, it's made from a pretty standard kangaroo leather material. It's very soft, has a nice kind of plush feel to the touch, very comfortable on feet, and I will talk about that more later in the video. And you can see it has a pretty simple stitching pattern that to a certain extent is supposed to mimic the lines that you're going to find on the standard hybrid touch of the Nitrocharge 1.0. And then of course there's no stitching at all where the energy sling would normally be. Of course there's no rubber on the upper of this shoe, but they kept it free of any stitching just to give it the visual appearance of the Nitrocharge 1.0, which I think actually looks really good. Now from those seams back, you're going to find a perforated leather material similar to what you're going to find on the Pure Leather Adidas F50 Adizero, although I would say it is a little bit thicker, and unlike the perforations in the leather Adizero, this actually has the little holes filled in with stitching, so you can see that it's all kind of stitched to each other. Each hole kind of just has this cool little pattern, and like I said, they're all attached through stitching. I think that's something that's supposed to mimic the appearance of protective mesh, and in person it just has this very premium vibe about it. It's not something that I noticed in the online stock photos, but visually it's just really good looking. It has that premium feel to it. But with that being said, if you were to actually wear these shoes, I have reason to believe that the stitching here would definitely fray pretty easily after a couple of wears. It's not going to harm the shoe in any way, but it certainly won't have that clean visual finish that it has right now while it's still new out of the box. You do have the leather symbol on the back of the shoe, which is a common theme of the entire Pure Leather pack. The tongue is also made from leather. You can see it says K Edition right there across the top of the laces. Your Adidas logo is embroidered in black right there at the top, and you have a little bit more of that stitching pattern there on the side of the tongue, which looks really nice. You can see that the actual Adidas stripes are that kind of off-white cream color, almost like an eggshell white, and they're actually strips of leather stitched on top, which just gives the shoe a very old school feel. You can see that they don't line up perfectly, which a lot of people would attribute to poor quality, but personally I don't mind that at all. You can see again, they don't line up perfectly. I just think it has that really old school vibe, which to me, I really like. Some people might have different opinions, but you can see it definitely doesn't have that same modern, almost mechanical vibe that you get from the regular Nitrocharge 1.0. Definitely has more of an old school feel. And then of course, the rest of the Nitrocharge, the sprint frame itself, is exactly the same. It has the external heel counter. It's all black in color, as you guys can see. The studs are all translucent, and then you have your energy pulse system there all in black as well. So very clean design, really good looking shoe in my opinion. Leave your opinions on it down below in the comment section. Do you like the look of the Pure Leather Nitrocharge or the regular Nitrocharge? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, while this shoe does share the Nitrocharge 1.0 name, and to a certain extent the Nitrocharge 1.0 aesthetic, it is absolutely nothing like the standard Nitrocharge. The regular Nitrocharge is all about being a very rugged, responsive, and protective shoe while still maintaining a fairly lightweight and relatively low profile feel, and it does that very, very well. It has a unique set of characteristics that really set it apart from every other boot currently on the market. And when you're talking about the pure leather version of the Nitrocharge 1.0, if it didn't have the Nitrocharge name, if it didn't have the Adidas stripes here, if it didn't have the general appearance of an energy sling, and of course if it didn't have the Nitrocharge sprint frame, you really wouldn't call this a Nitrocharge. And when you're comparing the two shoes directly, there really isn't a lot to compare. Now, like I mentioned, the upper is all made from kangaroo leather on this particular variation of the shoe, so no rubber elements. It's just going to offer a clean, soft, premium touch on the ball, and it's also going to change the fit of the shoe a lot because this does not have that rubber energy sling. You can see the lacing system is set up the same. Just because you don't have that extra rubber reinforcement means that you're not going to have that same locked-in feel. It's not going to have that same responsiveness when you're making those quick lateral cuts, and it's just going to feel, like I said, like a normal soft kangaroo leather soccer shoe would. So in comparison to the regular Nitrocharge 1.0, the design and feel that you're going to get from this particular variation is just going to be a lot more simple and what you would expect from a traditional leather soccer cleat, which in my opinion is not a bad thing. And considering this is limited edition, I don't think that the performance was really the key focus of this particular design, although it definitely will perform the part if you are looking to wear them. As far as the cut in the heel is concerned, you can see that it does have the same cut as the regular Nitrocharge 1.0, not too low, not too high. It's got a very nicely padded heel lining material. The actual material on the surface is a perforated synthetic leather material, just from what I can tell. The insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It is gold in color, features your Nitrocharge branding right there, and it does say limited K Leather Edition, the My Coach branding right there in the middle as well. Gold perforated synthetic leather on the top. You have the gold stitching going around the edges as well, and it's pretty much just a standard Nitrocharge 1.0 insole. As far as construction is concerned, just a slightly different finish on the top, but it definitely will get the job done. And then moving on to the sole plate, you do have the Nitrocharge 1.0 sprint frame here with the external plastic heel counter. That's a little bit more heavy duty in comparison to what you're going to find from the F50 Adi Zero, even though it does have a similar appearance. My Coach cavity in the middle. You do have your energy pulse system, which essentially is just a slightly stiffer sole plate in the forefoot area of the shoe. It's something that's a little bit noticeable at first. They say it's supposed to provide energy return when you're actually running. Honestly, it's not something that you're going to notice as a major feature. It's more of a marketing gimmick than anything, but no real complaints as far as the sole plate is concerned. It's just don't expect any kind of energy return or expect to run faster or something like that as it is marketed, because that isn't actually the case when you're wearing the Nitrocharge 1.0. And then of course it does have that triangular stud pattern that we've seen from Adidas quite a few times over the last couple of years. Not my personal favorite, but it definitely does get the job done. And a lot of people actually really like this stud pattern, and it does perform pretty well on firm natural grass playing surfaces. So that's pretty much it as far as an overview of tech specs are concerned. Again, there's not a lot to talk about here. It doesn't have the energy sling, it doesn't have the protective mesh, it doesn't have the extra padding in the heel. It's a simple kangaroo leather upper that's going to provide a simple kangaroo leather feel on the base of a Nitrocharge 1.0 with the sprint frame and energy pulse system. So again, really clean looking shoe, really nice shoe, and if you're looking for a simple, high quality leather soccer cleat that's just going to perform the part, if you did manage to get your hands on a pair of these Nitrocharge pure leather shoes, then yes, they definitely will perform extremely well. As far as weight is concerned, while the regular Nitrocharge and the pure leather Nitrocharge are two completely different shoes, I think we've covered that at this point, I still thought it'd be fun to compare the weight of them just to see if there was any kind of significant difference. So please keep in mind that these are both in brand new condition and both in the same size 9 US. We'll start off with the regular Nitrocharge 1.0, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.2 ounces, which is pretty light for a shoe that is this responsive, this comfortable, and this protective. So we'll pull that off the scale. Remember, 8.2 ounces. We'll throw on the pure leather Nitrocharge 1.0, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 8 ounces exactly. So somehow they're actually 0.2 ounces less than the standard Nitrocharge 1.0. Again, the upper is completely different. It really doesn't have any of the same features that you're going to find from the regular Nitrocharge, with the biggest differences being, of course, the leather upper as opposed to synthetic, the lack of energy sling, and of course the protective mesh. I would argue that the regular Nitrocharge is going to be a little bit more protective and certainly more responsive, but strictly when we're talking about weight, it's pretty interesting that a full kangaroo leather upper like this weighs exactly the same as the synthetic upper found on the Nitrocharge 1.0. In fact, it's even a little bit lighter. So for companies to be using the excuse that synthetics are more lightweight, that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case, at least if we're comparing the synthetics to the pure leather shoes that Adidas has released, because almost all of the pure leather models have actually been lighter than the standard variations, which is very, very interesting. All right, so here's a look at the pure leather Nitrocharges on feet. And from right out of the box, these shoes are, as you would expect, very, very comfortable. They definitely have more of a snug fit in the midfoot than I was expecting, but that is kind of just the general shape of the Nitrocharge 1.0 because it does share the exact same sole plate. But as far as the overall feel of the shoe is concerned, again, it's nothing like the regular Nitrocharge. It has that same shape, but because it doesn't have the energy sling, because the upper is soft kangaroo leather as opposed to a much firmer synthetic material, they just feel much softer and more flexible from right out of the box, which is not necessarily better or worse, just different in comparison to the regular Nitrocharge. And again, there just isn't a lot to compare between both of these two shoes. As far as the overall fit of the shoe goes, it's a more snug fitting shoe overall, like I said, especially in the midfoot, whereas the forefoot area and toe box I would say is a little bit more roomy than the regular Nitrocharge, again, because it doesn't have that rubber energy sling running directly through the lacing system. And as far as sizing goes, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you do plan on getting a pair of these, if you did pick up a pair, or if you just want to know for the sake of curiosity, these things do run true to size just like the regular Nitrocharges. So again, if you're planning on picking them up, I would strongly recommend going true to size for the best possible fit. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Pure Leather Nitrocharge 1.0. Out of the entire Pure Leather pack, I don't think there was much of a demand for a kangaroo leather variation of the Nitrocharge 1.0, but now that we actually have one, I have to say that it's actually very, very nice. The leather quality is there, it definitely looks the part, and the shoe feels really good on feet. Again, just like the rest of the pack, it is a bit of a shame that they were only limited to 500 pairs each worldwide, so most people who even want a pair of these won't be able to get them. And again, as a production shoe, I think that this shoe would actually sell pretty well, but leave your opinions on that down below in the comment section. That's pretty much it for my review though, guys. If you want to see the detailed images that I took myself, check out the review page on my website. It'll be the very first link down below in the description. There won't be a full written review for this or anything like that. And if there are any links available to buy these things, they will be on that review page as well. So if you're interested in any of the pure leather shoes, check out that very first link down below in the description. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions at all, leave those down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.